Hello, let's get this show on the road. It's been a while, my friends, but I'm here and I'm hoping I'm live. The screen is telling me I am live. I'm just going to wait until somebody shows up. Let me just get rid of that shiny light a second. Oh, here we go. I can tell I'm live because I've got a couple of people watching. Thank you to my biggest fan club, Sylvia and Mum. Hi everyone, it's been a little while since I've been able to do a live. Just been busy, it's summertime, we've been away a lot in the caravan, and when I've been at home, I've not been at home actually. The last couple of weekends when we've not been away, we've been away in the caravan. We've actually been away visiting family, which has been fantastic. So I'm really happy to be in my craft room and bringing you a live demonstration this evening. So hi and welcome everyone. I can see a few people popping up. Just say a little roll call if I can from the top. So Sylvia, Mum, hi, Brenda, Carol, Sue, Barbara, I can see, yay, fantastic, thanks for watching. So hi and welcome, my name is Izzy Shashinsky. I'm Izzy's Crafty Bees independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in the UK here in North Nottinghamshire. And as always, I would just say a couple of things that have made me happy recently. Obviously it's summertime, who's not happy in summertime, even though it's been a bit chilly at the beginning of today. Been visiting family, so that's just made me incredibly happy. I haven't seen my mum for over a year, hadn't seen my dad and stepmum for over a year, so Father's Day, my mum's birthday's coming up. So I went across to the west coast of the UK for my international viewers to a place called Morecambe Bay where my dad and stepmum Jules live, and had a couple of days visiting them. And then I on my own drove up to Skipton the weekend just gone to see my mum and my brother who live in my hometown of Skipton. So that's all good. So it's been lovely. And 2-0. So that's made me incredibly happy. If you are international, you don't know what I'm talking about. Euros 2020 that have been played in 2021, football. England have just played Germany and we won 2-0. So that's made me happy this evening. Okay, so what are we going to do this evening? I'm going to show you how to use some designer series paper, one sheet, to make the base of an album. We will be using more than one sheet of materials to finish off the album, but this is a one sheet DSP mini album. I'm just looking at comments ticking up and it's really sweet. Thank you, Barbara. I have been to the hairdressers today, but I didn't actually have it cut because I'm growing it, and my hairdresser is gorgeous and listens to me, and so she just gave me a few waves. So thank you, Barbara, you're so lovely. It's nice to get a compliment. So yes, I'm going to show you how to make an album using one sheet of designer series paper, and we will be decorating it, and we will be adding some inserts as well. So let me spin my camera. I'm just going to move my notes to one side. I will come back and say some closing notes as well. I've got some closing notes about what else is happening with Stampin' Up, so do stick with me to the end. I'll mention a few things as we're going along, but there's quite a bit of stuff going on with Stampin' Up at the moment. So let me spin my camera first, and we'll just flip you down so you can see my desk. Let's have a look. And let me try and get you level, somewhere near level. Now I've got a big shadow of my charging cable. Let's try and get rid of that. We'll just keep our eye on that, because if I don't keep my camera plugged in. So here we are. Just a quick reminder that I'm here on social media, and you can shop with me using the same name, izzyscraftybees.stampinup.net. You'll find my shop there, and you will find how to join my fab team also at stampinup.net. If you are shopping online with me but not local to me, please do use this host code, C for Charlie 6, H for Hotel, 9, E for Echo, V for Victor, E for Echo, Z for Zulu, until tomorrow only. And there is a reason for that, because the sale of retiring products from the January to June mini spring summer catalogue is actually finishing tomorrow, and I have a workshop order open which I will be closing tomorrow at around 5 p.m. UK time. So that's just a reminder of that. So watch my Facebook page if you're shopping after tomorrow. There'll be a new host code. So let's get rid of that. And let me show you the main event this evening. I'm just going to bring some extra light back in. Let's have a look. So I want to show you how to make this cute mini album using one sheet. And a couple of things. We're going to be using the Pansy Suite. A couple of things I want to just show you is the clever catch, which I came up with. It looks like a belly band but no sliding. It looks like it might be tied with a ribbon but no untying. It simply just pops into this little slot, and I thought that was quite a cute way of finishing it. I made a prototype earlier and I had to retro fit that, and now I've come up with a neat idea of how to actually do that, so I'm going to share that with you. So let's open the album. And inside we have, first page, we have a little pocket, and I've made a card which I'll show you how we decorated. Just a simple card. You can write your own greetings in there. And this side we have two pockets in which I've put just a couple of simple tags, and we have a third pocket on the outside, which if you were wanting to send us a gift, you could pop another note in there, or maybe some money if it was a gift for a birthday or a special occasion perhaps. And then page 2 we have a turnover, we have another pocket here, and I've put another single-sided card, not an opening card, but something in there. And I've decorated this side with some fussy cut images from the designer series paper, and I've made another pocket here. So that's this nice flat mini album which would post nicely in the UK. That would go large letter, but it wouldn't be any larger than large letter. So fantastic. Nice flat, decorated with a trinket as well, so that would pop in an envelope. So let me just make sure everything's working okay. I think picture's okay and sound's okay. I'm not getting any feedback, and I think my camera angle is looking good. So I will take a seat while I start this. The other thing I'm going to tell you is the images on the front are stamped, so I'm going to be using the stamp set and dies, and I'm going to be using the Stamparatus, which for me is always a challenge. I love the Stamparatus, but I do not love demonstrating it. I love using it myself, but I do not love demonstrating it. It is just my nemesis product. It's a fabulous product, but I always tend to get my pants in a turn. The other images that I've used throughout are actually die cut or fussy cut from the designer series paper. I had some expert tuition yesterday from my demonstrator and best friend Alison Langford. Big shout out to Alison, who gave me some great instructions of how to get the best out of the Stamparatus. But this stamp set just lends itself to Stamparatus because it's a multi-stage, I want to say 2-step stamping, but actually it's a 4-step stamp, as many steps as you want to add colour, to be perfectly honest. So let me take a seat. Let me just move that to one side, and I think we can still see it if I have it there. So I'm going to take a seat, and I'm going to just first of all open my catalogue to the suite. So if you're interested in the suite, it is on page 28 and 29. It's the Pansy Petals suite. So just a reminder about how a suite works. If you think about suites and sweeties, particularly in the UK, we have pick and mix. So just think about a suite being a collection of products, and you can pick and mix. Or if you love everything, you can buy it using one item code for one price. In this suite, there is a pack of designer series paper. There is a stamp set and matching dies. And there are some bumblebee trinkets, and we will be using everything from the suite this evening for this project. And the reason I want to use the designer series paper is that on Thursday of this week, the 1st of July, we have a designer series paper sale starting with 15% off selected designer series papers, and I'm going to show you which ones towards the end of the demonstration, so don't go away. I'll be bringing back my catalogue. But this is the designer series paper pack from the Pansy Petals suite, and I'm actually going to use this. So for my original album I used this piece, beautiful, really colourful, lots of pansies and violas, and the other side is that gorgeous bumblebee with a really small design, if that comes out on camera. It's a really small floral, ditzy floral design on the other side. So that was the piece that I used for my original album. And the piece I'm going to use for the album this evening is this piece, nice and fresh, white background, gorgeous little bee. And on the other side we've got some lovely gingham pattern, and that is in, I think it's pale papaya, that nice fresh peachy colour. So I'm going to use this as the base of my album, and I'm going to decorate it using other pieces. So you can see I've been dipping in and dipping out of my pack of DSP, but one thing I wanted to point out to you is that the matching coordinating dies actually do coordinate with this piece, so you can cut out the big pansies and the small pansies, and the dies also coordinate with this piece, so you can actually cut out the leaves. And of course our designer series paper is always double-sided, beautiful. And that's the other side. Yes, we've got this one with some more gingham. And if you did watch my launch of the annual catalogue, I think I went through the whole pack. And oh, the last one that I've not shown you is this one. So this has got slightly smaller images with a, I think that might be soft seafoam background, and then on the other side a nice stripe. So something in there for everyone. And as always on our designer series paper, there is a list of coordinating colours for ink and plain cardstock shown in print within the packet. So let me just pop those to one side for the moment, because I've got out all my pieces that I need. I'm going to just have a small drink. Okay, so let's have a look at cutting the actual designer series paper to make the base of the album. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer. Not too much in terms of measurements, but you do need to consider which way the pattern is running. So I want my album to be this way, so I want my pattern to be the right way up. So I'm going to actually turn it and cut it in half. So that's 6 inches. I'm going up to the 6 inches mark on my trimmer. And I'm going to just simply cut that in half. So now I'm left with 2 long pieces of designer series paper, and I'm going to do some scoring to make those 2 sides. Now what will happen is that we may end up with the pockets being just a different way around depending on how I actually flip the paper around. But don't worry, you will get an album with pockets and you can decorate. It's all about the decorating once we get inside anyway. So the first score I'm going to do is on my outer piece, and I think I need to actually put that face down. Oh, and I also need to extend my trimmer leg. I just need to remind myself of measurements. Let me move some stuff out of the way. I've got a little note, and I will write it on a post-it sticker so that's easy for you to reference. Let me just have a look. Yes, so I'm going to put that face down, so this is the inside of my album, and I'm going to score at 2 inches. It's a bit nice because it will be international, because usually we measure in centimetres in the UK, but I got this designer, thumbs up to another paper crafter, not Stampin' Up, Pink Strawberries online. I love her designs for flat mini albums, and I'm going to make my second score at 7 inches. So let me just jot that on a post-it sticker for you. So 2 inches and 7 inches score. I'll just pop that there. Just see if that's still in shot. If I leave that there, let me just stand up. Yes. Okay, so that's your first piece. And we'll just pop that to one side for the moment. And then our second piece, and I just need to think about this one, so bear with me. I need to score this the right way up, I think. I'll just get this correct. I need to score this at 4 1/4 and 9, and I just need to work out which way up this goes. If that goes like that, that goes like that. This is when I need to really think about it. No, I need to score it at, turn it over, I think, 4 1/4, because that will fold back that way. I think that's right. Turn it over and score at 4 1/4. Look, it's not right, is it? We'll go for it. And 9 inches. Okay, so 4 1/4. So we're landscape. So if I do this symbol, that means it's landscape, not portrait. 4 1/4 inches and 9 inches score. So that's number 2, and that's number 1. And if I just put my post-it sticker up there, you've got a bit of a reference. But if you're watching back on playback, and I will upload this live to YouTube tomorrow, you should be able to pause me anyway if you want to replicate and make this album. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece and let me have a think. I do think I've done that wrong, but never mind. We'll just carry on. We'll just see how it turns out. No, I haven't. I've done it right. So I'm going to now turn it. So I was scoring it at, finished scoring it at 9. And now I'm going to take out and turn it vertical. And I'm going to score at 3 inches, but only down to this score line here. So let me move my scoring tool up here, and I need to look very carefully because it's not very clear. And of course my head is not right over. In fact, what I'm going to do, just to make life easy, and you won't be able to see it hopefully, is at 4 1/4. Pop that back in, and I'm going to make a pencil mark, so that should stand out for you guys watching. If I can get my pencil, there we go. So now we can see that score line a bit clearer, and at 3 inches I'm going to score down to that first score line there, and that's what makes those 2 pockets here. See, we've actually got 2 pockets because I've glued in the centre there. So that's where I'm going with that. And I think that's all the cutting and scoring I need for the actual album. We'll just pop our trimmer away to one side, and we'll come back and we'll have a look at how we assemble this. So this is our first one, and what we're going to do is we've got this skinny piece here which will be the 2 inch, and that's going to fold in, and then we're going to fold the whole lot over to make the outside cover of the album, so you can see how that works. I'll just get my bone folder and burnish those score lines. And before we do any sticking, I'm actually going to bring in a naughty punch. Bear with, it's just here. This is a retired circle punch, and I'm just hoping that people will have bought lovely Stampin' Up circle punches before they're retired. We also have circle dies which would work, but a circle punch is dead nice and easy to use, and that just gives us that little thumb pocket. Oh, I didn't do one on this one, but it gives us that little thumb hole on our pockets. So we've got our outer cover. Now we're going to bring in our second piece, and now we've got this piece with the 2. That's it. So we're going to have it, no, we're going to have it that way, because you see when I did it the other way, I ended up with my pattern the other way up. So if I wanted it to be this way, with a big pattern, I'd have to consider which way round, but I'm going to actually fold it back this way and have the gingham, so when it's actually glued together like this, I'll have the gingham on the inside, and then I'll turn the page and I'll have my other pocket here. So that's great. So now I'm going to do 2 little punches on the edge of here, so halfway on there and about halfway on there, and I'm just eyeballing that, and then on the other one I'm going to do a little punch there. These, you don't have to do these half circles. If you don't have a circle punch, it's no bother, you can leave them. It just makes it kind of a visible thing for your tags. It's just something visible and helpful for people if you've tucked something in there. So if you've tucked some notes or something in there, it's just a visible nod to how you actually retrieve the things from the pocket. So I'm going to stick this down now, and the only piece that you actually stick down is this flap here to the most outer flap, and of course you make your pockets, but the only thing that you actually stick on the inner to the outer cover is this flap here, which is where I'm going to start. So I'm going to start by lining it up. Let me find a multi-purpose glue that actually has some in. I've got about 5 different ones on my desk. Not sure which ones. Glue bogies galore. Let me get rid of that in the bin. So yeah, the first thing I'm going to do, because I want this to be a pocket, I'm actually going to put my glue along the top edge and along the back seam and along the bottom edge, leaving this just a thin bead of glue. Oh, I feel really out of practice demonstrating out loud. Just those few weeks off. Now I've just lined up that crease to my score line there, and I'm just lining it carefully, edge to edge. More glue on my bone folder than I have on my glue pot. So you can see how that makes a pocket, and yet this page still turns. Now I'm going to form these 2 pockets here. Let's bring that right in shot. And for this one, I don't need any glue down the back because the fold forms that back stop. So I'm actually just going to pop some glue here along the middle score line and along the bottom, and that should form our 2 little tag pockets. Well, they can be for anything really. And of course, if you wanted just one big pocket, you needn't do the middle score line. That's the beauty of these mini albums. Once you get the idea for a little album, you can actually customise it and make it your own, make it just how you want. And now I'm going to form this first inside pocket, and again all I need is a little bit of glue along the top here. And you can make them from any DSP that you have, that's your favourite. And what I love to do is use a suite because everything coordinates beautifully. So now I have my base of my album. So I've got my outside cover, I'll just give it a burnish. I've got my first pocket, and I've got 2 pockets here. I can turn the page and I've got a pocket here. Now what I want to do is perhaps add some extra pockets. Now you could just leave this album entirely as it is and just decorate it. Decorate the outside, maybe make a little card and some tags and do some decoration on the inside. You might want to pop a photograph in here, some journaling, or send a message to somebody, and that would be absolutely fantastic. I added a couple of extra pockets to my original, so I added an extra pocket here and an extra pocket here, just with some coordinating DSP, because there's plenty to go at in a pack. So let's have a look at the pieces that I pulled out. And I've got this piece, and I've got some I've got this really colourful piece. Oh no, that's not big enough. I think I saved that for something else. So I could use this nice piece with the continuing the theme with the fresh flowers. So what I'm going to do is trim down a couple of pieces, and you can decide the width. You can make it a skinny pocket or just maybe a band to tuck something under. It's entirely up to you. So I'm going to bring my trimmer back, and we'll make a couple of pockets, and we'll probably make 2 from one long strip. So if we remember that this will be 6 inches wide or 6 inches in length this way, then what we can do is cut a piece 6 inches like this, and then we can decide the width of the pocket across. So let's have a look with a ruler. We could do something like, let's keep in inches if we're working in inches. How about 2.5 inches? So if we go 2.5, and we can pop a little pocket here, and we could have a look at maybe a 3-inch pocket on the back. So we could pop a 3-inch pocket on that side. We could even do it this way around and have a pocket tucked in that way. Or we could have done a pocket on the bottom. It's entirely up to you, but we'll just go with side pockets for the minute. And these little cut-offs we can use for extra trims or something, just for decoration. So again, I want to just encourage you to make your projects your own once you've got the base measurements and the idea of making a mini album, and using that DSP, because we all buy it. I know you do, I do the same. We buy it, we stroke it, we love it, we look at it, sometimes don't get it out of the packet. So for this one I'm going to put glue along the top and the side and the bottom. So yes, we look at our DSP lovingly. We might take a little tiny snip and pop it on a card from time to time. Or actually, if you're my mum, shout out to mum. She makes fabulous cards using lots of DSP. She is really good at using DSP, where she makes up for us that just stroke it and love it and look at it and don't do anything with it. But this kind of album really is, I think I've got some glue on there, but I'm not sure, really is super for using up that DSP and showing it off. So come on ladies, I want to see some albums. And Tombow's nice and strong for this kind of construction. Here we go. Ooh, I've got the dithers. Let's get that lined up. So there we go, we've just added a couple of extra pockets. These are really lovely. You know, if you've had this would be a really nice album actually, if you've been to a flower show with somebody and you've taken some photos and you want to share some memories. You could pop a packet of seeds in. They'd be really lovely, just mementos or gifts. Okay, so next, that's the basis of your album. I'm going to leave these score lines up here. Because it's as easy as chopping a piece of DSP in half and doing these score lines, folding, gluing for the pockets, then maybe adding some extra pockets. But as I said, it would work without the extra pockets, it would be absolutely fine. That's the basis of the album. I'm just going to stand and make sure I'm still live. And I've got some... Yes, I've still got people and I'm still working. That's grand. It's always good when I've got no technical issues. So now I'm actually going to show you some of the components that I've pre-prepared for the decoration. So in my box of goodies, and this is just simply to save some time, I've pre-cut a strip of gold foil cardstock, and this is just a full size piece. So this would be 12 inches, I'm sure. Let me just double check. Yeah, it's a full, or is it an A4 piece? It's maybe an A4 piece. And I've cut 3 centimetres. Oh, now we're mixing our metrics and imperials. So that is 1 and 3 of the little ones, whatever the little ones are. are they 12s? 16s? I'm rubbish, absolutely rubbish at inches. 1 3/16, I want to say, or 3, anyway, not, yes, 3 centimetres, hey ho. Marvellous. Now, so that's going to be the faux belly band trim, and we will trim this down. The other pieces that I have pre-cut are a piece of soft succulent and a piece of evening evergreen beautiful shimmery vellum, and that's going to be my front cover piece. And I've cut them using the Stitched So Sweetly dies. So I have gone a little bit die heavy on this. So I've used my Pansy dies, I've used some tailor-made tags, which you don't need to use, and I've used Stitch So Sweetly. So I've used the 2 of the largest rectangle Stitch So Sweetly pieces. Again, I found this set of dies incredibly versatile, brilliant for card fronts, just perfect for a card front. I've used these pieces for sentiments and card fronts and imagery. So if you haven't purchased your Stitch So Sweetly dies, I can highly recommend them. They are fantastic. If you don't have Stitch So Sweetly, of course, you can decorate your album just using a plain rectangle piece. It would work just fine. It just wouldn't look as gorgeous as mine. Just saying. I've also used the tailor-made tags dies, and I've used this large one, and I've pre-cut 2 tags which I'm going to decorate for that inside pocket, and I just did those ahead of time just to save a bit of time. And the other tailor-made tag that I'm going to use is this one, and it's the is it that one? No, it's not. It's the second largest one. So it's this one, and I'm going to use this to cut the tag end on my gold faux belly band, and I'm going to show you how I did that right now, and then we'll start and do some more decorating. I'll just put my bits to one side, put everything to one side, because I want to bring in my die cutting machine. So all I've done is taken my strip of gold foil cardstock and my tailor-made tag die, and I've put my tag die face down, so the cutting surface is face down, and I've poked in the foil from the top. So I'm not laying it on top, otherwise it would cut it. I'm poking it through just so the end is proud. You could poke it through so the end is quite proud, actually, because we are going to trim it down. We don't need this full length. And I'm just going to bring in my cutting. I'm going to bring in the big cutting machine, actually, because it's already here with the plates, and I'm going to just lay that on. And I like to lay my dies on a diagonal if I can. When they're a rectangle piece, it just keeps the dies nice and flat. And all I want to do is just run that through till that very top end has gone through. I don't need to go any further because that's all the cutting that's required. And if you can see that that's actually just cut me a nice, sort of like a belt end. Let me just pop this machine back over onto my second surface here. So that's cut me a nice belt end. And the next thing I want to do is, using the larger rectangle, is I actually want to make a notch. If you can see my original, I have a notch for this pointy end just to locate into, which gives me a little bit of a closure, a fastening closure. It does sometimes want to pop out, but it's quite a neat way of doing it. And I used Clever Punch, and I can never remember what it's called, so I will have to look in the catalogue. But this punch has a label, a hole and a slot. Now I've used it lots for the label. I've used it once or twice for the hole, but not very much, because I actually have my original hole punch, and I don't think I've used the slot either at all or very much. I can't remember. And the idea behind this is that you can make the slot in the top of the tag or in the sides. I think I might have used it for the sides of the tag to thread a ribbon through, and that's about it. And you can obviously use the circle as a hole to make swinging tags. And I just thought this was quite clever, so I'm going to eyeball this. I'm looking for the centre, and I'm going to push it through so I can just see the stitched line. And I'm going to just guesstimate where the centre is. So what I'm actually looking at, if I pop this down, I'm going to give you a tip. Let me do this. I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat so I can actually put my punch down flat and it doesn't swivel round. Because of this stacking piece, if you pop it on your desk and you try and press it, it just wants to swivel. If you use your Stampin' Pierce mat, you can pop it down and it won't wiggle around, it won't run away. So I'm hoping we're still in shot here. And I'm going to just try and eyeball this. I've slid it in. I'm just eyeballing that we're sort of central there. I'm looking for the stitched mark and I'm just going to push it a little bit extra and punch, and I should get my slot there. I'm perhaps not quite central, but it is difficult when I've got a camera here and my head can't just come over, but that will still work absolutely fine for that belly band, and that will allow just that little bit there just to poke in. Now if you want to, what you can do is enlarge that hole with your snips. If I get my snips here, I can actually just enlarge the hole a little bit either side, and I really mean a little bit. So I'm just looking at the ends of my snips, just making that hole a little bit bigger so I can really push that curved piece of the belted band into that slot, and that just gives it some closure. So there we go. So there's a tip for you with the Stampin' Pierce mat. Just put some bits out of the way. So now we've prepared our placket for the front, and we want to be able to decorate it. So I'm going to pop my gold band out of the way to one side. Just pop it back in my basket. And we're going to have a look at some stamping. I'm just going to pop my tag die away. Trying to be tidy because I come back in my craft room when I finish decorating. It's a proper craft math and I do lose things. See, I'm just about to lose that because I was popping it in with the dies. Do lose things, so let's just pop those back in that box there. Pop everything to one side because we're now going to do some stamping. We're going to use the Stamparator to do the stamping of these lovely pansies. So we'll just pop our album to one side as well. Clear the decks. Nice clear area. Let's bring in the Stamparatus. Stamparatus is super tool, absolutely super tool, and it is all about getting your confidence. And this is me speaking because as a demonstrator of almost 10 years, I am quite a fast stamper. I like to stick my stamps on a block and just stamp. Whenever I do production line stamping, I just stamp and I'm happy. I'm not a precision engineer stamper. So Stamparatus is something that I do use from time to time, but I'm not an expert in demonstrating. And when I do demonstrate it, when I do use it, it reminds me just what a brilliant tool it is. So what we're going to use is the pansy patch stamps. And we're going to use, first of all, we're going to stamp the big pansy. So we need the two pieces of the big pansy. I'm just going to get them out of the stamp case and just roughly stick them on one of the plates of the Stamparatus. Of course, Stamparatus comes with two removable double-sided plates that you can lift out and turn round, and also with a multi-positional hinge. We're going to use it in situ just on one position of the hinges this evening. We're not going to do any hinge movement. And in terms of stamping the colour, I'm actually going to use the solid stamp first and then the more detailed stamp over the top, and I'm going to simply place my pansy down, pick it up with the plate. I'm just going to reposition that grid sheet. So at the moment I've got my stamp platform, I've got the Stamparatus sponge mat, and we sell these, or we sell the deluxe mat. In fact, I'm not sure if we just sell the deluxe mat now, that already has a printed grid on, and we have a printed grid sheet. So I'm going to just pop the printed grid sheet, and the first thing I'm going to do is to get some ink. just going to pop that post-it pad underneath because it gives me a bit more of a level surface, it's not tilted. And I'm going to go exactly with the same colours. I'm going to use polished pink. The first thing I'm going to do is ink the stamp, so keeping it quite nice and flat. Just gently ink the stamp, and I'm going to stamp it straight onto the grid sheet, and that will give me a position. Now, before I actually started the demonstration this evening, I actually die cut, and I will bring the pansy dies out and show you what we get in the pansy dies. So in the pansy dies we actually have these outline dies. So I actually got the large outline die and I cut a pansy outline, and I've written template on the front so I know that that's the top. And now I'm going to position that template perfectly around my stamped image, and I'm going to secure it down with my 2 extra strong magnets. And now I'm going to go to the die cutting machine, and I'm just going to quickly die cut. I've got some scrap. I'm just going to use a scrap of Whisper White or Basic White, and I'm just going to quickly cut myself 1 large pansy and 2 small pansies. So don't go anywhere, I'll be right back. I'm just here, not gone far. I'm not sure if I actually pre-cut these either earlier, but I can't quite see them in my box. It's just as quick to whiz them through. So there's 1 big one and 1 small one. I'm going to just quickly cut another small one. I'll just give you that die. Will you look after that for me for a moment? I'll be right back with you. In the turn of a handle. There we are. And another small one and 2 dies back, and I'm just going to pop those on my magnetic sponge just to hold them. So now I've got my die cut blank, and I'm going to pop that in the template, and now I know that that's in exactly the right place. I'm now going to ink up my stamp again. This time I actually want to stamp off, stamp on. So I'm going to just introduce a scrap, and I've got one. In fact, I could just use a post-it sticker. Why not? Let's pop a post-it sticker in. I'm going to stamp off onto the post-it sticker, applying some pressure, and remove the post-it sticker. Ooh, that's bled through. Never done that before. Never used a post-it sticker before. It won't ruin anything. I'm going to take the plate out and huff like you're cleaning your glasses, and then stamp and apply good pressure down, and that gives me a paler image. Now I want to use the second piece of stamp, so this image that goes over the top, and I want to also use polished pink. So for this time I'm actually going to position my stamp with the stamp face down over the top, and I'm going to bring the top plate down to pick up the stamp. It will also pick up my piece, which I can put straight back into the template. And so this time I need to ink up, and it's just up here, so I'm just going to carefully ink. I'm not applying very much pressure with this ink pad because it's an incredibly juicy ink pad. I'm just going to let that ink settle, and I'm going to stamp that with some good pressure on the top. Again, it will pick it up because it's photopolymer, and there we are. I've stamped 2-step stamping in exactly the right place. Now I want to stamp the colours for the inside of the face. So I want to stamp some yellow, and I want to, which yellow did I use in the end? I think I went for Bumblebee, and I also want to stamp that nice dark purple, which is Blackberry Bliss. So I'm going to get out the relevant pieces. So I'm going to use this piece for my bumblebee, and I'm going to use this piece for my blackberry bliss. Now what I can do is turn the plates round, because that's what they were designed to do, and I've got another stamping surface, and I'm going to position the stamp face down and pick it up. There we go, pick that up, and I know that I can position that back in the template, and I can ink that with my bumblebee. Nice and gentle, and apply some even pressure. Now I want to put some pressure there on bumblebee, and I'm going to do the same with in fact, yes I will, I'll just spin that round, use that. So I've now used 4 different plates, 2 plates, 4 different sides, and I'm going to position my little inner piece. Let's get that in the template. There we go. These little pieces sometimes just stick to your finger. And I can pick that up with the plate, and we can ink that up with Blackberry Bliss. Ooh. You can see how I've got ink on the plate. Now if you're careful, you don't need to wipe that off because it's die cut anyway. I'm just going to move that piece out of the way, and I'll clean that later. There we go, we've got a lovely pansy. Now there is another stamp that's in my box, which is that little tiny bit, oops, I've got some ribbon in my hand, a little tiny bit right in the centre, which is yellow, and this is the tiniest stamp in the actual set, and I'm going to stamp that with Bumblebee, and I'm using a block for that because it's really not that difficult to stamp. You do have to have it, it's like a wedge of cheese with the heavy bit of the wedge at the bottom and the point at the top, so that just finishes off that pansy. And we're going to do the same for the 2 little ones, so I can remove my template, just being careful with my magnets, remove my big template, and I can keep that in the stamp case with my stamps. And I'm going to do same with my little pansies now. So the first thing I'm going to do, I need to keep Blackberry Bliss out and Bumblebee, but I don't need polished pink, I do need fresh freesia, and I don't need green at the moment. I'm just going to keep those inks to one side, and I'm going to have a very quick clean of these stamps and just pop them away. And clean that plate really quickly just so that I can get them out of the way. And I might not even pop them in the case, I might just, sometimes when I've just used stamps, I've just finished with them, just pop them in the case so I can quickly get them out of the way. So let's go again. So if we remember the routine, we need the small, how am I doing, Alison? Give us a thumbs up. Not that I'm looking. So we need the small pansy and the small pansy over and the small pansy middle. So they're the 3 pieces we need. And I'm going to pop the small pansy solid onto one side and the small pansy just out of the way and the small pansy middle out of the way. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually stamp it onto the grid sheet. I'm going to give myself a clean sheet just for demonstration purposes. If I was working on my own, I'd just continue on the other side. So fresh freesia, full strength, just on the grid sheet for positioning. Position my template, pop my magnets on, holding that down nicely, and pop my first blank in. Now I've just stamped that full strength, so I should be able to huff this one. Pop that back in. And with some good pressure, that should give me a nice pale face. That's grand. Now I want my overlay, and I'm just going to position that over the stamped image and let the plate pick up the stamp. Of course it picks up the piece, but we don't worry because the template shows us where to put it down. And the benefit of doing it this way rather than positioning and repositioning and then die cutting is that you know that your stamps are in exactly the same place, and you can do multiples like for this second one. So there's number one. I'm going to do, while I've got these in the right place, I'm going to do the second one. So, oops, let's get you right there. There we go. So ink, stamping off first. Now I could just go straight through onto grid sheet. Stamp off. Position piece in template. Give it a huff. Pop it back in. How brilliant. Other stamp positioning tools won't let you pull out the plate to huff. So that's another benefit. And now we're going to, another benefit of Stampin' Up's Stamparator stamp positioning tool is those plates are removable from the base. And we'll do that top one. I think I can safely say I'm actually having fun with the Stamparatus whilst demonstrating. I have had plenty of fun with it just using it but not demonstrating it. Now I'm going to spin that plate to pick that centre piece up. Lovely. And I'm going to ink that with Blackberry Bliss. And there we go, we've got another pansy. I'm going to do that yellow centre in a second. It's just absolutely brilliant for these multiple step stamps. Absolutely fantastic for lining them up. If you're at all nervous or if you've maybe got bifocals, it's difficult to do the lining up. And I'm just going to take that template out and pop that to one side because I will keep that in my box with the stamps. So I'm just going to show you how I store my Stamparatus with the plates as well. I will just quickly take off the stamps. Even though they need cleaning, I'm going to clean those tomorrow when I come back in and just pop them on the top of my box. So I will store my Stamparatus. First of all, I'll put the magnets back underneath, and I'll store it with one plate on and one plate off, and the one that's off goes flat with the hinge hanging over, and then the plate that's attached just lays on top and holds that, and that holds that nice and flat. And that's how I store it, and pop the magnets back underneath. And then I can pop that back on my shelf because that Stamparatus finished with. I'm just going to stamp those little middles with yellow. Bumblebee. And that's quickly 1, 2, and that's those little viola pansies finished. Closing up my ink. Super, so we've got our 3 pansies ready to go, and the leaves, I'm pretty sure I actually did die cut some before. I've got them in my box somewhere. Just talk amongst yourselves while I just have a rummage and find them, because I'm pretty sure that I did. Oh, maybe I didn't. No, maybe I didn't. So I'm going to use a piece of the DSP, and I'm just going to cut a couple of leaves. We'll go with this one. And we'll use the pansy dies. This is fabulous because the pansy dies coordinate with the DSP, and I think it's this one. So the outline dies are super, they just coordinate. So this one here and one of these long ones. So I'm just going to go to the machine and just quickly cut a couple of leaves. And then we're nearly there, ready to decorate. So if you don't have a die cutting machine, well, why not really? Why haven't you got a die cutting machine? But you might not have. You can still fussy cut the images from the DSP. That's another great thing about designer series paper with images on, is that the images are good to be used individually as well as a patch of background. So you can see on my, just run that through, and I just secured one of the dies with a piece of old washi tape just so it didn't jump about, and I've got 2 leaves cut from the DSP. Right, I just want to take a brief moment to talk to you about the fantastic diversity of this set of dies. Look at all the different pieces that we get, and I think if you watched me on my launch of the new annual catalogue, or the 2021 to 2 annual catalogue, you'll have heard me already talk about this. But these are the outline dies that cut the individual shapes once you've stamped them. And these dies that have an outline cutting and an embossing blade on them actually cut plain card, and you can make flowers, and I will show you this piece again, which I've shown you before, and I'm going to be doing a demonstration on this piece in particular. I will do it quite soon because I know I've got people waiting to see this demonstration. Even if you didn't have the stamp set, you could have the designer series paper and you could cut the outline of the large images. I'll just pull a piece out. The large images from this sheet using the outline dies because they coordinate perfectly with these pieces, and the leaves just as I've demonstrated, or you could cut the pansies from plain cardstock. So even if you're not a confident stamper, the dies and DSP coordinate brilliantly and you can make some fabulous projects using them. So really worth having. So let's gather together our pieces and we'll decorate the front and outer of the album, and then we'll go inside and we'll start doing some decoration inside. So let's just clear away some of this. Bring back our album. Bring back our pieces that we need. So we need our gold faux belly band, and we need our 2 front pieces, which I knew I'd put down somewhere and lose them. There they are. So there we go. This is our in colour shimmery vellum. If you've not seen it before, it comes in all the different in colours and it really is very eye-catching. It's so shimmery and gorgeous. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is stick this vellum to this base layer, and I'm going to use multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm just going to put some in the middle so that we don't see it round the edges. So I'm just going to put a squiggle in the middle. Simples. And just layer that up. It does dry clear, but you can, I found with this vellum you still can see the glue, so I'm just trying to keep it to the centre. You could use tape glue, it would work equally well. And now I'm going to stick my pansies on. I'll use the same pattern as I've used on the original one, so I'll stick my big pansy in the middle and I'm going to pop it up on a couple of dimensionals. Let's be frivolous and use 2. I'm usually a one-dimensional person. Well, not a one-dimensional person. That sounded really funny. You know what I mean. And I'll have a bit of an overlap with this one, and I'll tuck this one under, and then we'll add some leaves. Really simple. What's the word? Layout. Arrangement. That's the word I'm looking for. You're probably all commenting and shouting at me, but I can't see the screen, so carry on. It's all good fun. Oh, I have missed doing this. Have you missed me? I've really missed not coming on live. But it's summer. I'm hoping that you've all been spending time in the garden doing things, maybe getting back to seeing family and friends as well. Now, where's those gorgeous bumblebee trinkets hiding? Here they are. So also in the suite are these. They will stay in stock. They're just so popular because they're in the annual catalogue, so they are here for a year. but they are so popular, quite rightly, because they're a bee. So I'm just using a glue dot to stick that down. I'll pop that up there. Now I'm going to stick my decoration on the front with dimensionals, just so I can actually stick this piece of the faux belly band flat underneath. But I think what I'm going to do is actually use a different order of sticking. When I made this one, I hadn't stuck this and I ended up bending it. So I think what I'm going to do is locate my belt end into the slot, position it where I want it, hold it steady, flip it over, use a pencil and just mark that back. Let's have a look. So we've really popped that in, and we've flipped it over, and we've got a pencil mark on the back. Let's just line that up. That should be fine. And then I can actually make a score line on this. I'm going to bring in my trimmer. Oh gosh, I've got boxes of stuff all over the place. Does it all look calm and nice here? Because it's chaos over there. So I'm going to pop this back in my trimmer. And with the scoring tool, not the cutting tool, I'm going to make a score line there. And what I'm going to do is just move that score line to the very edge of that grey, so it's literally a millimetre or two. Make a second score line, and that will give me just something to go around, because that's not entirely flat. You see there's a bit of width to it, so that will fold round and locate in there. So that's grand. And what I can do now is same pencil mark this one, because the gold foil is quite a thick card, and just move it across a smidge, and that'll give me a nice sort of bend round. Now what I can do, I'll get rid of that again. Oh, let me check, are you still there? I do sometimes worry. I wouldn't be that's a true story, Carol. I wouldn't be crafting properly if it wasn't chaos. That's so true. So here we go. Let's continue with the organised chaos that is my crafting desk. I'll just pop that there. And stick that in there. And we'll look at how far this wants to come round. And then we'll chop it off. We'll just chop that there. It doesn't need to go all the way around. Now what I can do is actually stick this, whereas yesterday I stuck that last, but I'd already stuck this on and I needed to poke it under, and it was all a bit difficult. So that's why I make a prototype first, and then I can show you the correct way of doing it. So I'm just going to use some Stampin' Seal and get this piece stuck here. Now I can stick the back. There we go. And that should stick that nicely. And we've got this piece that's going to remain like a catch. Now we can stick this on, but what I want to do is still make sure that that locates in the slot. So you can tell what I'm going to do. Hopefully, you've guessed. I'm going to get my dimensionals, and I'm going to keep that located in the catch and flop it over and pop my dimensionals on the back, making sure that I don't have any that interfere with that catch. And I actually want to put quite a few dimensionals on this piece because I want it to be nice and sturdy. Definitely want one in each corner. Whew. I'm rather warm this evening for a change. Do you know, I went to bed last night and I was cold, and I got up to go to the toilet and I put some socks on and went back to bed. I was so cold last night. Temperature had really dropped, so much so that I was actually going to put the winter duvet back on the bed. Anyway, it redeemed itself at 3:30 this afternoon. The sun came out, so all is forgiven, and now I'm warm. So I'm giving that a bit of a push to try and keep that in situ. I'm just going to fold that over. There we go. Ta-da moment. So now you can see this little buckle end locates in the slot. So we've got something to pop it into to hold it when we want to close it. And we can just decorate this with a piece of ribbon. Now, the one that I made previously, I didn't actually do that folding down, I just kind of guessed it, and it does keep popping out, so I'm pleased with that. I'm pleased. Now I want to just point out I've got some glue on the gold foil, and in the past I've tried all sorts. I've tried glue, rubber and all kinds of things, and I'm hoping that that's Tombow, and Tombow, as we know, what glue here is water soluble, so that should actually come off with a piece of kitchen paper. Ooh, and a drop of water, which I do have a little bit of in my watercolour jar. When I'm watercolouring, I'll just blot that a bit. I'm hoping that I might be able to just get that off with some water. I did see another demonstrator doing this, and it worked for her. I've never done this on air before, and it's not working for me. And that's just typical. I'm wondering if it's actually not Tombow then, because it should come off being water soluble. I'm thinking that must be tape glue. Oh, it is lifting a bit. Ah, patience. Patience, Izzy. Plenty of water. Yeah, it's coming off. Oh, well, thank you, fellow demonstrator, and I've forgotten her name, but if I do think of it, I will give her a shout out for that tip, because that's something that's annoyed me for years, when you get a bit of glue on a bit of gold foil. So let's have a piece of ribbon, and we can do a quick bow to decorate that. Then we're going to go inside the album and do some decoration in there. And of course it's up to you how you decorate your album inside, but I'll just give you some tips about what I did using the DSP. Let's have a little bow. We can make this a bit neater and a bit smaller. Trim it down. I'm enjoying it. I don't think you'll be able to hear it, but I'm really enjoying the music this evening. He Who Must Be Obeyed, Mr. Shiz, my lovely husband, is so excited to have friends round for the first time since lockdown, probably. And during lockdown last year, we finally finished his music room, his listening room. He is an audiophile, not just a music lover, but an actual audiophile. So he actually enjoys just listening, much to my annoyance sometimes, over and over and over to the same piece of music through different equipment. Anyway, I like stamping pieces of paper with ink. We're all different. Anyway, he's really happy because he's got his friends round. Okay, and I'm enjoying the music actually, because it sounds like they're listening to a whole album. It is quite funny. Okay, so we're going inside now, and in this pocket I'm going to suggest that you put a greetings card, and I've cut a greetings card slightly smaller, so it's the same width as always. So that's the width of the A4 scored in half, so in English it's 10.5, but I've actually cut it down slightly shorter. Normally this would be 15, that's right, isn't it? It would normally be 15 centimetres, and this time I've cut this down to 13 centimetres, so it will fit in the pocket. So 13 centimetres, or just a little bit more than 5 inches, to make a greetings card that we can slide in the pocket. And I'm going to decorate that using DSP. Let's look at the previous one. I've used another piece of vellum and some pieces of DSP. So let's have a look what we've got in the box. Did I prepare anything earlier? Oh, I've got a little snip of DSP we could use there. I've got some scraps there. I've got some other bits and pieces. So let's have a look at what scraps we've got left over from what we've been cutting. Got all kinds of bits and bobs here. And I didn't pre-cut a piece of vellum. So what we could do, actually, I'm just going to go into my current bling box and I'm going to just try and quickly find if they're in there. Oh no, where I stored them. Just looking for, this might be a quicker way. How about using a vellum square doily? That would be a quicker way, wouldn't it? Grab one of those and we could decorate that card with one of those. That would be rather nice. Same but different. So I'm going to decorate the front using this. I'm going to I can die cut or I can fussy cut, and I think just for relaxation I'm going to fussy cut these 3 pansies from this scrap of DSP, because I am a fussy cut fanatic and I absolutely love and enjoy doing it. So let's have a little chat. So let me ask, what's made you happy this week? Any of my English friends watching football or hating football? I know Mum's watching Wimbledon, so I won't get any sense out of Mum now for the Wimbledon fortnight. I'm being cheeky, Mum. Mum's a massive tennis fan. So you'll find my mum glued to the telly watching Wimbledon, glass of Pimm's in hand, bowl of strawberries, and she'll be happy now for a fortnight. Maybe the odd bit of card making. Oh, I want to share with you a lovely card that Mum made me. So I went up to Mum's on Saturday, and if you follow me on Facebook you'll have seen that we had a lovely walk in the woods in Skipton. Very surreal experience whilst walking. Heard a dog barking. Looked to see a couple with 3 dogs. One was swimming in the lake. In the woods, is like a small lake in the woods, and perched on a tree was what I thought was a pigeon, really still pigeon. And I said to Mum, look at that pigeon, just sat there while that dog's barking. And as I got closer, the man was looking at me, looking at the pigeon, and I looked at the man and I said to the man, that's not a pigeon, is it? And he said, no, it's a parrot. An African grey parrot had gone out for a walk with him and the dogs, and often does. How funny is that? So surreal, but lovely. And so I had a little chat with the pigeon, who was called Ruby. I wanted to take her home because she was just gorgeous. Had a ruby red tail. Had a little word with her and she talked back to me. So that was just really nice. Now that would go nice. So if we just use some snips of our DSP that we've got left over, I'm just chopping them. We could even do some shapes. So this is why we should just use our every little snip of DSP that we've got. That looks quite cute. We can stick that together. That will work as a nice little card. So let's glue this. So really quickly fussy cut those 3 pansies. Nothing to it. And I'm going to stick this vellum doily down. Thinking about where my pansies are going to be means I can think about where to put the adhesive. So if I do that kind of, and I'm going to put the DSP over the top. So what I will do is just use, I think, some Tombow and just find some of the bigger areas, just add a few dots. So yes, and Saturday evening Mum and I just had a really nice evening, just chat, watched telly, had a glass or 2 or 3 of wine and went to bed. And the next morning Mum said, I made you a card last night when I'd gone to bed. I said, what do you mean you made me a card last night when I went to bed? Well, I couldn't sleep. It was all the excitement of seeing me. So she got up and made a card. Let me fetch it. It's brilliant. It's lovely. Look at this gorgeous card. Can you see that? Isn't that lovely? Ah, have a beautiful day. And she wrote inside, to remind you of a beautiful day, but to remind you also to never, ever, ever try and make a card when you've been drinking red wine. Love you more than baby parrots, from Mum. Well, I think it's a fabulous card. Despite the glasses of red wine and the lateness of the hour. Thank you, Mum. Love you too. It was a memorable day. It's a lovely day. And you've not seen your mum for over a year and you get to have a squeeze. It's a bit special. Let's just layer these pieces up. Here we go. See, simple, quick card, doesn't take long. It'd take even less long if my glue would come out. Beautiful designer series paper, just so gorgeous. And we'll pop a sentiment on. Let's pop a sentiment. Let's have a look at the sentiments in the set. Well, you could do if you could see them for stamps that are stuck on the front of the case. Let me just move them. So the sentiments in the set are really useful. We've got a thank you and a happy birthday, always really useful. Love you much. A little hello from me to you. Wishing you a little extra happiness just because you're you. And the little things you do make such a big difference. That will go really nicely with the thank you. So I think I've got a nice space here, and I'm going to actually, even though I've got one mounted on a block, I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to reach for my evening evergreen. How are we doing for time? Gosh, it's 9:15. I need to get a wiggle on. Let you lovely people have some evening. So I'm going to stamp love you much. Quick, easy card to pop inside my mini album. I've got 2 tags, if you remember. Let's clear some of these bits to one side. I've got 2 tags that I pre-cut, and on my original album I fussy cut some more pansies and popped them on, and I think for this one I'm going to simply stamp some sentiments. Wishing you a little extra happiness. I think that's quite nice. I'm going to simply stamp the sentiments onto the tags. Pop that one that way round. Oh, it's not straight. And I'll pop this one. I think it will just fit on that way. There we are. And I think we'll just use a couple of quick pansies, so nothing's going to go to waste with this. DSP, let's quickly fussy cut that. Let's crack on. Let's do some super speedy. Probably a bit difficult to see in the light because that's quite a pale flower. But they're quite nice, easy shapes to cut. And we just chop that on. And we can pop those on like that, quick and easy. It's just such a pretty project that you can just keep going. And you get the idea. I won't decorate the other one. What I will do is use some of this, show you the gold cord. Now this is part of the, oh, I've forgotten the name of the suite. Oh, it is something elegance. Is it something elegance? Oh, I can't remember. Somebody knows the name, you can type it up for me. It's the lovely one with the black and the gold gorgeous DSP, really classy. And there is some cord as part of the suite, and I really like this. It comes in a pack of 2 cards, 1 gold and 1 silver. So useful. I really like to have metallic cord and metallic threads. I really miss the metallic thread, the really fine metallic threads that we used to have. They were just really good for adding a bit of extra sparkle. I'm all thumbs and fingers. What's wrong with me? Because I'm talking. I think I'd be good at it by now, wouldn't you? There. So a couple of tags that we can pop in those pockets. Now my original, I didn't pop anything in this pocket. I just wanted to show you how nicely those tags actually fit in. And you can just leave, because we've cut that, you can leave just that bit showing. You can leave the tails long or cut them down a little bit. And just trim those off a tiny bit. They're long enough. And I didn't pop anything in there, but over here I made another card and I just used a single layer. How did I decorate it? Here we go. So I used another layer and then lots of fussy cutting. So let's just quickly do something there. Let's get rid of some of these bits. Let's see what we've got in the box. What have we got left in the box? Oh, here we go. I've got a piece of maybe too much gingham, with a piece of this, a piece of this one. Right, we could use some of these to fussy cut, and we will do a piece of, I think we will do a piece of that nice purple, and I will just quickly die cut. Stitch so sweetly. Because it all matches, we'll use this big one. I'm just going to quickly cut this one. Be right back, don't go away. I'm only over here. Oh my goodness, something else that made me incredibly happy this week. Yesterday, my bestie came to play. Alison came and we had a play date. It was so good. So I haven't seen Alison for ages. I think it was March when I last saw Alison in person. And we had a little sit outside in Helen's garden. So that was fab yesterday. Gosh, how could I have forgotten that? I've had so much excitement going on in my life this week. So much to make me happy. So a really simple single layered card, and I will just go and do some fussy cutting. Look, even this piece is not going to go to waste. I'm going to fussy cut. You're all with me until just after 9, aren't you? I'll be finished by 15:15 this evening. So I haven't been quite 2 hours, didn't start till 7:30. Time flies when you're having fun. So shall we aim to finish by 9:15? And we'll just take our time and finish this last little bit. Because fussy cutting's lovely. And if you don't like fussy cutting, then you've got a stamp set in this suite. You've got dies that match the DSP. You've got dies that make flowers on their own. So something for every crafting taste. Whether you're purely into stamping and hate fussy cutting, really love your die cutting, there is something for everyone. And if you don't like any of that, there's always the sewing bee. That's all I'll say. Look, shall we not waste this little critter? And I do have something else that made me really happy this week that was very exciting. On Tuesday, a week ago, demonstrators got to see and got to have in their possession about their electronic devices a copy of the PDF version of, drumroll please, the Christmas catalogue. Just saying. And who is the Grinch? oui, c'est moi. And who likes too many things in the Christmas catalogue? Also me. I can't tell you how excited I am about that Christmas book. It goes live to customers on the, I want to say the 2nd of August, so I'm going to say the 2nd of August. The very beginning of August, you will get to see it. And I am going to be able to pre-order from it from the end of this week. And I will be pre-ordering and I will be sneaky peeking. There are so many nice things, not just Christmas. I even like the Christmas stuff, everyone. Shock, horror, lie down in a darkened room. There are some nice Christmas things in it. Some beautiful autumn things. And I will never have any new shoes or handbags ever again because I'll never be able to afford them. Because I just keep buying gorgeous stuff from Stampin' Up. So, something for you to get excited about. And if that wasn't enough, if you absolutely love Christmas and autumn and new stamp sets and punches and dies and sweets and DSP and all that exciting stuff, you can even get free stuff because round 2 of Celebration, yes, you heard it, for the first time ever, we're having 2 rounds of Celebration this year. Round 2 of Celebration also starts at the beginning of August. For 2 whole months, you can purchase your new stuff from the new catalogue, seasonal, and earn freebies. And if you order with me, then you also get, if your order is over, I can't remember what my order amount is. The amount that I usually do free gifts with. You also get freebies with me, so double bubble. August, September. What's not to love? Right, let's do this. Let's stick this. So 4 elements from DSP, simply cut out. Let's stick them down. We'll pop that leaf at the back. Makes a really simple card. So again, if you're not a confident stamper or you just want something a bit different, you've got options. Because the images on this paper is just, they're just gorgeous. So pretty. I've got to have a little bee. Oh, it's nearly upside down. And let's have a sentiment. Let's have a thank you. I like sentiments. Nice and easy. How simple was that to do? So another little card to pop in this pocket here. And you can pop something else in here. We could decorate this side with some bits and pieces of leftover DSP. We can add some trim. Let's do that. Let's add a bit of trim there. Yeah, we chop that bit there. It's just a bit extra. And we're not wasting all these snips. And that bit there just goes up to the edge of that pocket. And we could go on and decorate as much as we like, and then that little tag just pops in that slot and holds it all nice and closed. So there is our album. To this side is our chaos, which we will just tidy up, and let's just pop that other card. No, that one went in there, that one went in there. Let's just pop those in there and we can put them side by side. And we can look at same but different. There we go, we'll just make those. And we'll just have a recap. Oh, you see this one's popping open, so it's not quite as tight as the other one. It's just a change from using maybe a Velcro dot or something, or even a full belly band. You just sit still for your photograph. Behave. Okay. So same but different. One sheet wonder, one sheet of designer series paper and decorated how you want to decorate. And I'll just flip the camera back round to finish off, and I've got a couple of closing notes just to remind you of, so bear with, and then we're nearly done. Take a seat, and here we are. And I'm back in the room. Whew, phew, I made it. Let's see. Here we go. So I've got some notes. Thank you for staying with me, if you stayed with me. And if you're watching on replay, thank you for watching me on replay. So if you're watching me on Facebook, please like my page. And if you're watching me on YouTube, please give me a subscribe and a thumbs up. That really helps, and it helps to keep things free as well, free to air. Just a couple of things just to remind you of. So today is the 29th of June 2021, if you are watching on replay. The sale of the retiring seasonal January to June mini catalogue items finishes tomorrow, and it finishes at 11 PM UK time. If you are ordering, if you want to add anything to my order, which I'm closing off tomorrow, please have your order to me, let's say by tomorrow at 4 PM, and I will finish that off in the evening. If you're ordering online and you don't live near me, then please continue to order using the host code, but just use that host code that I gave you at the top of the show until tomorrow evening, and watch out for the new host code popping up. Just to be aware of that. The DSP sale that I mentioned starts on Thursday this week, until the 2nd of August. So it's running for a whole month, and that's 15% off. And I did promise I would go through the DSPs that are actually in the sale, so I will do that really quickly. And to do that, the best way of doing it is to show you in the catalogue. So I'm just going to flick you back round. It takes a second to do that. So here we go. In the catalogue, in the designer series paper section, on sale from Thursday for a whole month is The Beauty of the Earth, Bloom Where You're Planted, Hand Penned, and they're all reduced in the sale to £9.14, 15% off. In Good Taste, which is that bumper large pack of 24 sheets, 15% off, so that's down to £17. And then continuing with 15% off down to £9.14 is In the Wild, Pansy Petals that we've used this evening, Sweet Symmetry, Tidings of Christmas, so you can get ahead of the game, and You're a Peach. So all of them are down to £9.14, with the exception of In Good Taste, which is that bumper pack of 24 sheets, and that's down to £17. So pretty much it's everything except for the speciality. So not the speciality, it was Simply Elegant, the sweet I was trying to think of, and not the In Colour collections or the Colour Family collections. So all of those are down 15% off for the whole of August. Yeah, so for a whole, let me just think, no, for the whole of July until the 2nd of August. What am I talking about? Let me bring you back round so you know what I'm talking about. So that's the DSP sale. Oh, hello. There you go. Yeah, and just a reminder that kits, if you're interested in kits, have their own separate website. But if you go to my shop and just search for kits, you'll see that they're not listed in the catalogue. So they're what we call an out of publication product, because we are able to have more flexibility with kits, and we get to offer you different kits at different times. So if you're a kit lover and want to have a look at our latest offering, do visit my shop and just do a search for kits there, and you'll see what's on offer. And that's all I've got to remind you of in terms of what's happening at Stampin' Up. Yeah, Fabulous. Thank you again so much for watching. It's been great to get back live again. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. I think I've run to time. I'm pretty good. I'm happy with that. It was something a bit different. If you have a go at a mini album, please let me know. If you change yours in any way, you know, you decide on different pockets or add to it, please let me know. Send me pictures, send me comments. I'm always happy to see them. So yes, thank you for joining me this evening, and in particular Carol, because I know Carol did buy the whole suite. So thanks, Carol. Hope that's given you something to think about. And I did promise, because we are neighbours, you will come and have a cup of tea and do some crafting with me. Just as soon as I've got a free afternoon. That would be really lovely. I'm looking forward to that. So thanks for watching. In the meantime, enjoy the summertime, enjoy the lovely weather if you've got it, and keep crafting. Stay safe, follow the guidelines. Yeah, it's all good. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now. Bye.